What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube and Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? Welcome back to another episode of the Just Chillin podcast call-in show. Sorry I'm late. That's kind of why I didn't run the intro, because I was like, hey, I'm already like 2 minutes late. Let me just get in here and get this thing done. Now, of course, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. The most recent news being the signing of the man you see up on screen right now, Tyrod Taylor, formerly of the Houston Texans, also formerly of the Los Angeles Chargers, before that, Cleveland Browns, and before that, Buffalo Bills. Coincidentally, he was with the Bills in 2017, where he did take them to the playoffs. And another person that was on that Bills organization at the time was then assistant general manager Joe Schoen. First and foremost, shout out to everybody here. We got Glenn's Echoes, Namar, Raj, Island Boy, and KB. What's up, man? How you doing? I'm going to drop the link for you guys in just a second. But first, let me just kind of quickly give my thoughts on the Tyrod Taylor signing, because it was a 2-year, $11 million deal that could be worth up to $17 million through incentives. So essentially, he's been on the same contract like for the past 3 years. He's always signed on for $5.5 million. He signed on for $5.5 million with the Texans, and before that, $5.5 million with the Chargers. So it's been pretty consistent. So we have him for $5.5 million a year. 8.5 of that is guaranteed. At first, when it came out, we all thought it would have been 8.5 per year, and people were looking at the deal sideways because it was like, that's kind of expensive for a backup quarterback. Now, for those of you that don't know, I actually wanted Tyrod Taylor last year as the backup quarterback for the Giants, much because of the same reasons that I'm sure that Joe Schoen signed him this year. One, he's one of the more elite backup quarterbacks. He's somebody that has starting experience. Not only starting experience, he took his team to the playoffs. This man, if it wasn't for injuries and I guess a bad situation, it wasn't even a bad situation, it's just that the Bills felt it was time to move on from him. But if it wasn't for injuries mostly, he would have been a starting quarterback in the NFL to this day, I believe, because playoff experience is something that's very important. And it's not like it was like, I guess you could say, fake playoff experience. No, he played a big role in getting that Bills team to the postseason in 2017. So he's somebody that has been kind of like Teddy Bridgewater, one of the better backup options / bridge quarterback options for the past couple of years. And we've seen him do that. I call it a Tyrod Taylor effect. He went to Cleveland as the backup / bridge, started a couple of games, and then, when Baker got in there, Baker had a great rookie season, rookie touchdown record. Went to the Chargers, started a couple of games. I think that was the year he had that, unfortunate heart incident or some type of heart injury. And once Justin Herbert got in there, Justin Herbert had probably even a more amazing season than Baker did. And, rookie touchdown record. Went to the Texans just this year. Davis Mills, somebody that, no one knew about, 4th-round pick. Out of nowhere, Tyrod, he started the first couple games. Davis Mills gets in there, has a pretty cool, a pretty exciting rookie year. You had this guy throwing for around 400 yards, and 4 touchdowns in a couple games. It was crazy. Mods, please take care of the spammer right there. So I'll call it the Tyrod Taylor effect. Wherever he's gone and there's a young, particularly rookie QB, man, he's for some reason that rookie QB does well. I don't know if it has anything to do with his mentorship or if it's just, he just so happened to be in a place where a rookie QB had a lot of talent. Whatever the case is, he's been really, really good for those teams. So obviously, as Giants fans, we're all hoping that something similar happens here with Daniel Jones. Maybe he comes here. Maybe whatever effect he had over at those other teams takes place with Daniel Jones, and Daniel goes out there and has a great season. Now, of course, there is another side to this, and that is the fact that something we all need to acknowledge, he could legitimately beat Daniel Jones out for the starting job. Let's take a second to recognize that he can legitimately not only challenge and push Daniel Jones over the summer, which is what, reports were saying the Giants wanted Mitch Trubisky for anyway. But I'm confident that he could beat him out. Tyrod Taylor is a good quarterback. Tyrod Taylor has skills. He can manipulate and specifically run out of the pocket. He hasn't had the best offensive lines. He could do things that Daniel Jones can't, specifically with his legs. He can push him really hard. He can potentially, beat this man out. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you look at, and this is just speculation, because I remember a couple months ago when I was here on stream, I was in videos talking to you guys about the Carpenter, not the Twitter account, the actual Carpenter that leaked information from the Giants. one of the things he said about regarding Daniel Jones' neck injury, and the guy has yet to be proven wrong. When he first, kind of leaked the information back in Week 12 of the NFL regular season, he said that Jones was going to be out for the rest of the season. It's a pretty serious neck injury, and that the Giants were going to do everything to play it down and make it seem like he's not out for the rest of the season. That's exactly what happened. From Week 12 onwards, we didn't really have confirmation, I want to say up until about Week 15, maybe even Week 16, that, oh yeah, Daniel's not coming back. They tried to make it seem like it wasn't that bad, and they definitely try to make it seem like there's a chance that he could be back in the season. What that implies is that if it's much more serious than what the Giants are letting on, I don't know if I should trust the fact that they said he should be ready for contact back in August, because of the fact that they signed a quarterback like Tyrod Taylor, and the fact they were looking for somebody that could start, somebody that could beat Daniel Jones out to start. Whether it was Taylor, whether it was Bridgewater, whether it was Mitch Trubisky, why are they looking for somebody like that if they claim to have so much faith in Daniel Jones? It just says to me that they don't have it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that they're kind of lying to the fans. I mean, sometimes you have to, because you don't want the rest of the NFL to know your plan as well. But they don't have as much faith, in my opinion, as what they're saying they do in the media and whatnot. Even just a contract, I know it's incentives that leads up to $8.5 million. That's kind of expensive for a backup QB. At least a backup QB that should be no threat to your starting quarterback, right? So I'm gonna just put that out there. And of course, I made a couple jokes on Twitter as well, saying that, oh, Tyrod Taylor would be a good mentor for CJ Stroud. I say that in joke, but if he's here for the second year and Daniel's not the guy, and CJ Stroud still projects to be one of the best quarterback in next year's draft class, I stand by that statement. I really do. With that being said, though, it's just so many things to get to. Like the line below me says, we have Mark Glowinski, a legit starting right guard. We have Jon Feliciano, who they're bringing in as the starting center. We got Matt Gano from last week. I didn't even have a chance to really talk about, the Blake Martinez restructure. There's rumors saying that James Bradberry has already been traded to the Raiders for a 5th-round pick. I don't know how many of you guys know that, but it's out there. There's so many news, and I can't wait to hear from you. That's why the call-in show exists. So let me drop this link right now. You guys are going to see it pop up on screen for a hot second, and let me hear all of your thoughts. You guys have heard me talk basically so much. Like, you've heard me talk all the time. So let's get this here and go ahead. I'm going to pin it in the chat as well. Bam. All right, I think it's pinned. And we'll wait for our first caller. I know Mike was in here earlier. I guess he popped out due to technical difficulties. Let me see what's up in the chat. We got 42 people in here, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button. Share the stream out. Xavier Anderson says he's trying to call in tonight. Well, bro, now is your chance. The link is there. Namar, what's up, man? Charlie Collins. Giants Penis Sports, what's good, bro? You guys need to check out his channel for a little bit of, prospect breakdowns. Let's see. Tudo, how you doing, man? I hope that your suspension and whatnot is over and that everything is good with your rugby team. Hershin here as well. And Eric Davis says only a 5th-round pick for Bradberry. That is what reports are saying. I'm surprised as well, because the cornerback market, some cornerbacks kind of signed for a little bit of expensive money. So I was expecting maybe we could get a 3rd for Bradberry. But also, one thing, I just noticed 2 people popped in. I was about to pop them in, and then they popped out. I wonder what's happening. Is this something with StreamYard? You guys got to let me know. Xavier, I see you back there. I'm about to pop you in, man. Let me know if you have connection issues, because I don't know if it's the website or whatnot. But real quick to the Bradberry thing, there were some reports saying that they couldn't even find somebody to trade for him. So it's looking like it's a shallow market compared to what we were expecting. Xavier, man, what's up, bro? How you doing? Oh, man, yeah, go ahead, man. What's up? And Xavier pops out. Is it StreamYard? Like, is it StreamYard? Because, okay. Jake, what's up, man? How you doing? Is the connection good?
I can't hear you right now.
You can't hear me? Okay,
No.
hold up. Let me try something.
I don't know if it's coming up with the settings. Hold on.
Let's see.
All right, let me join.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I bet, Jake. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. What you trying to talk about? Tyrod, Mark, John, the floor is yours. Like I said, this is for you guys.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the Taylor signing. I want to know if you thought, like, would you rather have Trubisky over Taylor?
That's a good question. Well, are you saying would I rather have Trubisky? Like, are we talking about them purely as backups, or are we talking about them in the sense that there's a chance they could start?
There's a chance that they could be started. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have Taylor. I'm not a big fan of Mr. Trubisky, and
Mhm.
I just think I legitimately think Tyrod Taylor is a better quarterback than him. I guess that's all I have to say on it. I like his skill set a little bit better as well.
Yeah. Do you think there's a chance he starts day one?
Yeah, I mean that goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? There's a legit chance
Yeah.
he can beat out Daniel Jones during the summer, during training camps and whatnot. We'll have to see if it actually happens.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think for sure that there's a chance. I mean,
I'm
going back to Trubisky as well, right? That they
yeah.
wanted somebody that fit that bill, so to speak, right? They
Mhm.
wanted somebody that could legitimately push him.
Yeah. I mean, I think this solidifies the fact that we're probably not taking a quarterback this year. I think we're probably gonna stick with Daniel Jones, which I'm happy about. I'm not like in love with any of the quarterbacks this year. I'd rather just like stick with getting an O line piece or like an edge rusher. So I'm pretty happy about that.
hmm And then there's even reports coming out that luckily for us, Akeem might slip, and then there was reports saying that even Evan Neal might slip. If just
Yeah.
one of those tackles are there, I feel like that's a great situation for the Giants.
I'd take either one of those any day. If so say Icky or like Evans on the board with KT, would you take KT first or would you take Icky first and take the chance that like either someone trades up with the
Oh, I
Panthers
was about
again?
to say, bro, it all depends on what the Panthers do. Because as of right now, as we're talking, right, the Panthers are one of the front runners to get Deshaun Watson. So if they get
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, they don't have their pick, and I'd probably go with the tackle. Because I don't. Actually, let me take that back. Because if Houston has their pick, Houston could go Thibodeau. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll probably go Kayvon and hope that when the tackles drop, because if the Panthers are there, they just lost Hassan Riddick, so I could see them taking an edge rusher to replace Hassan Riddick, right?
Yeah.
I could also definitely see them taking a tackle because they
Yeah.
let Darrell Williams go. It's a tough situation, man. But then if Houston is there, I think that I take Thibodeau because of the fact that they're moving forward with Laramie Tunsil as of right now.
It's true. I'd also like it depends on how high the Giants are on Trayvon Walker right now too.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I don't know if you've
if they
seen my thoughts on it. I'm not as high as
yeah,
everybody else
yeah,
seems to be on him.
I think he's a little overhyped, but I mean I mean we're not scouts though, so
That is true. Like at the end of the day, right? Like, I honestly don't know, Josh. My mod seemed to be missing in action tonight. I had to be the one to block that dude. But yeah, no, we're not scouts. At the end of the day, what I say is kind of just my opinion. But at the
yeah.
very least, and this is something I will always hang my hat on. At least it was an informed one. Like I look at some tape. There's a
Hmm.
lot of fans that are kind of defending and hyping him up, just going off of what other people are saying. If that makes sense,
Yeah.
other than just
Yeah, no,
trying a
I
little
got
bit to form their own opinion on it.
you. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean I'd still take KT over. I mean I've even seen mocks of us taking Walker over KT. I just like I don't think I would ever do that. But
There was one mock by Lance Zerline that I think it had the Lions taking Trayvon Walker and Aiden Hutchinson was on the board.
yeah.
I'm like, that's not happening, bro. Like, what is going on?
That would yeah, no, that would not happen. But I mean, I saw the Giants fight video. I like the Dable Sean pairing. I think that they work really well together.
I didn't get to watch it yet, but somebody tagged me on Twitter saying because I'm a big George Karlaftis guy. They said, oh, George Karlaftis was in here. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But also there was a
Yeah.
Tulsa tackle. I think it was Tyler Smith was in the video as well out of Tulsa.
Yeah. I mean, they blurred it out, so I couldn't really tell.
hmm
But I like them. I think hopefully they'll be the one and something new from Gettleman, who's awful. So good. It's
hmm
good.
I mean, what'd you
That's
think
why.
about the Mark Glowinski and Jon Feliciano signing?
Yeah, I think Glowinski was good. I don't think we overpaid him. I think it was a good signing.
I
He'll
think a
probably
lot
be
of
a
fans
good
are
starter.
underrating him, or they just don't realize how good he was. The Colts
I
were
mean,
one of the best
yeah, the
offensive
Colts had
lines
to
in
be
the
one of the
league.
best O lines. Yeah, yeah. So I thought that was a good signing. For Flincy, I don't. I mean, I don't know much about him. I don't know if he could be a starter. I think like he's not going to be the best center for us. There'll probably be a competition between him and Nick Gates. It depends on if Nick Gates can come back. But
hmm
I mean, it's still depth. So I mean, I'll take it.
hmm
And it still looks like they're focusing on O line the free agency. So
Yeah.
it's good. It's good.
And I mean, I guess I don't know unless anything else that you want to touch upon here.
Nah, man. That's about it. I appreciate you having me on here.
No problem, JK. I appreciate you calling in, man. Have a good one.
All right. Yep. You too.
Peace. Will K. Fisk is probably sleeping. He sleeps by now, man. He's not an old man, but he goes to bed early. He is old actually. He's above 30. But thank you. I want to say thank you all for tuning in. Who is our left guard as of right now? As of right now, our left guard is probably Shane Lemieux or Matt Skura. Um, unless we get somebody else. Mike Nixon, a member in here, and then I got Xavier right after you. Mike, what's up, man? What was happening earlier? You were popping in and out.
Because on my end you were muted, and so I had to restart my phone.
Okay, heard you. Well, I mean, bro, start off wherever you want. There's a lot of things to talk about.
Man, I like the Tyrod signing,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, and we probably signed him for that much money because the the medical staff may have more on Daniel Jones than
They're
we
letting
thought.
on.
Yeah.
So, Mike, because you couldn't hear me earlier, I was saying this, and I see a couple people pop in, so I'm gonna restate it. Remember a couple months ago when I was talking about the Carpenter, and like, guys, all the information the Carpenter got to us just proved to be true. He said Daniel was gonna be out for the rest of the season. The Giants were gonna try and play it down and make it seem like it wasn't that serious. That's exactly what happened. The man was out for the rest of the season, and they didn't even really let us know until, like, I want to say week 14, 15, 16, around that time. They tried to make it seem as if he was going to come back. And because of that, because of the fact that, what he said was correct, they're going to downplay the injury, part of me is thinking, what if the injury itself is still very serious? And that's why, they were targeting a guy like Tyrod. They were targeting a guy like Mitch that could start. Because what if he's just not healthy to start by week 1? That is a possibility. I don't know how, what the chances are of it being real, but it's something that we definitely should think about.
It is. It is. And as I was saying on KB's stream earlier, Tyrod's not a bad quarterback. He's a game manager. He isn't gonna exactly help you win games, but he ain't
But
gonna lose you any games.
I was about to say he's like a game manager, but at the same time, I'd still put him a level above because his athleticism really does give him an edge.
Yeah. What?
Either.
I'm talking to my friend. Oh, okay. Lock the door. I did.
What do you think about the idea that if
Hold
Tyrod
on.
ends up then?
Hold on. This stupid phone. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah, I've been able to hear you.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm. Everything good?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Alright. I don't know what the hell's up with my phone lately.
It's okay. Nah, it's okay, man.
But
I was gonna say, so in the situation, let's talk about this QB competition that's about to happen, right? Somebody asked it to me, right? The first caller. I'm gonna ask it to you. What are the chances that or is there a chance that he legitimately beats out Daniel, for week 1?
I think he can.
Mm-hmm. You think there's a chance, or do you think he will? What are you saying here?
I think there's a chance.
Okay.
That Tyrod can legitimately beat out Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Because even like this year with the little reporting that we got, Daniel Jones didn't seem to be like all that good during camp. You know what I mean?
You talking about last year's reports coming out of like training camp?
Yeah.
I guess I mean, I guess I get what you're saying. Like he wasn't something spectacular in the summer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, all it takes is for Tyrod to be lighting it up at camp and even in preseason, and Tyrod's the opening day starter, you know?
I mean, it's certainly a chance that happens for sure. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. And Okay, let me get on to Bradberry because
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, there's been, an account on Twitter that, and it's always, you got to take all these things with grain of salt, right? This particular account, though, has nailed like all three Giants signings a couple weeks before they happened, or like a week before they happened. But nobody knows where they're getting the sources from. So, like, nobody knows if they've just been on a lucky streak or if they actually have some insider information. And they're the only
Mhm.
person that's reporting this. That's why, like in the thumbnail, it says Bradberry trade rumor, because I don't know if it's a report, but they say that he's been
Yeah.
traded to the Raiders for a 5th-round pick. And I mean, the Raiders were always a team that I was considering that he could go to, not only because of Patrick Graham, but because they need cornerback help. So, I mean, whether you want to,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
until I hear it from like Art or
Like
somebody,
a legit
I
source, yeah?
wouldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that don't be surprised if we can't find a trade partner and we release him because we
A
have
couple of reporters, Jordan Renan and I believe Zach Rosenblatt, have also been saying that
yeah,
it's hard to find a trade partner for whatever reason right now.
yeah.
Why do you think
Hold
that
up.
is though? I thought that we would have been able to do that because of the fact that
Huh?
I said I thought it would have been able to find a trade partner because the cornerback market has been kind of expensive. The cornerback from the
Yeah,
Bucks, Carlton Davis, right? He signed back on a deal that was a little bit, lucrative. And there was
yeah.
somebody, J.C. Jackson had a deal that also had a
JC.
lot of money. So
I mean,
I was thinking to myself, this would probably push teams to want to trade for a corner that's already on a
yeah.
deal.
And I don't necessarily think that JC Jackson got overpaid. I think he's a phenomenal corner.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, it's crazy. I cannot wait till draft time. I honestly wish that it was here already.
Mm-hmm.
But tomorrow is a big day because we will find out what's going to happen with Bradberry tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow by 4 p.m., the Giants need to find a way to get under the cap. And by
Mm-hmm.
the information we have right now, we're technically still over the cap by around 5 million or something like that.
Yeah,
So not only are we going to find out what happens with Bradberry if we move him and how we move him, whether by cut or trade, but we're also going to find out whatever other potential deals they might have hidden right now.
yeah. Which don't be surprised if we get OJ Howard from the Bucks because I was doing a little bit of research before the stream and all, and OJ Howard has ties to Brian Dable at Alabama.
Yeah, but Dable was the offensive coordinator there, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
if
right
OJ
around the
here, here's
time.
here's the thing, if OJ's coming on a cheap deal, then yes. I said in my video today, the tight end market has been, it's not been expensive, but like dudes are getting a little bit
Yeah,
more money than expected. Like Evan Ingram, fully guaranteed 10 mil a year. I know it's a prove it deal. That's a little bit much
hmm
compared to what I thought he was gonna get. And I keep forgetting the name of the tight end that the Panthers signed. Also got a good amount of money as well. So yeah.
yeah.
Anything else,
So
Mike? Before I pop you off for Xavier, it looks like we got 2 new guys there. I'm excited. Xavier and Sam. What's up, y'all? Anything else, man?
let me just say the Jaguars are dumb.
They messed up the wide receiver market for everybody, bro.
They really did. 20 what is it? 21 million a year for
21 million
Christian
for
Kirk,
Christian Kirk. Yeah, Christian Kirk
and
is a number 2 receiver. Let's call it what it is, man. And
he
he's
is.
gets the
He,
third highest paid wide receiver in the
and
league right now.
by no means is he a bum, but he is sure as hell not worth 21 million.
Yeah,
And
bro.
even Zay Jones got overpaid, and they truly messed up because I don't know if you heard today they cut Miles Jack,
Yeah, the Jaguars, they cut Miles Jack. I don't know why they did that.
and then I heard a rumor that Laviska Shenault
Laviska should,
is
yeah, they're
on the
shopping him.
trade block.
It doesn't make sense to me what they're doing. Laviska Shenault is they're looking to trade him to somebody. And I mean, if Amari Cooper went for a 5th round pick, if I'm the Giants, I'm gonna call and be
Yeah,
like, "Hey, you want a 7th round pick for this dude, man?"
yeah, yeah. And thank God DJ Chark is got out of there.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Detroit on a 1 year deal.
Prove a deal, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. The Trent Baalke is something else, man. But Mike, I
yeah.
want to thank you for calling in, man. Hey, shout out to Vibes in the chat. We got Skylar Shaw, Big Play Slay. How you doing? Adam, Hirsch, Isaac. Thank you all for showing love and popping in, man. Mike,
All
thank you for
right.
calling in as usual, bro.
Hold up. I have one more thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see what Kyrie did tonight?
Yeah, I think he dropped 41 and a quarter. I didn't get to see what his final
Yeah.
points was.
Well, I think with like 7 minutes to go, he had 60 points.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm a certified KD hater. By association, I'm a certified
yeah,
Kyrie hater. It is what it is, bro.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm sure he had a. I'm sure you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
I that's great. The dude has been going off in the games he's gotten a chance to play in, man. So we'll
yeah.
see what happens.
I
Mike,
just, I, you know, I just want him out of Brooklyn so I can cheer for him again.
yeah.
Because Kyrie's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. So he
But
finished with 60. He
anyway,
could have finished with more. But yeah, Mike,
yeah,
have a good one, bro.
you too, bro.
And Vibe, stop lying to the chat. This man's saying that I blackmailed him to be here. He's really lying. Named Lord Commander Manny. What's up, bro? Xavier Anderson, man. What's up? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's good, bro? My bad about earlier. I couldn't hear you at first.
Okay, I think that's what the problem was. People were popping in and out. I think that was on my side. I had to adjust my mic, but everything's good now, man. And the floor is yours, bro. Pick whatever topic you want and let's run with it.
All right, sounds good. So I just want to start off with the signing of Taylor today. I honestly do think that DJ might be on the trading block. The reason why I'm just saying that is just because I don't expect us to get a 1 or 2, probably not even a 3 of this draft or anything like that. But I can see us trading. I think it's really going to depend on what Deshaun Watson does. If the Saints don't get him, I can see the Saints knocking on the door for DJ because they don't have a true quarterback unless they go back with Winston. And with his injury, you don't know which way that's going to go. I saw I was reading on some articles today that Winston might be going to the Browns.
Really?
So if he goes to so
You
if
know,
the
you know what's
Browns is
funny
in
is
now,
that I saw a report that said the Browns, even if the Deshaun Watson thing falls through, which it looks like it's gonna fall through because all reports are saying he's going to either the Saints or the Panthers. It just looks like the Browns are trying to get rid of Baker Mayfield, some way or the other.
right? So what I was thinking was, um, I don't see DJ going to the Browns at all, but the two teams I will have my eyes on will be the Saints and will also be the Colts. And the
Mm-hmm.
only reason why I say the Colts is because they don't have no quarterback right now. And I do feel like, don't get me wrong, the Giants, quote unquote, did do DJ wrong with not having a strong offensive line, and that's one thing that the Colts do have is a strong offensive line. I really don't think that Dable was 100% in on DJ. I think it was just more of just saying the correct things at the correct time at the press conference. Because if he says, "Oh, I want to move on with DJ," then it's okay. Well, who you want to go with? Why you want to move on DJ? It's too much heat on him. So I do think that it was just, you know, the correct things to say at the press conference. But I can see us after getting Taylor, definitely moving on with DJ. I don't see us going after a quarterback this free agency. I mean, this
Draft,
draft.
yeah.
Yeah, the draft is just not deep enough when it comes to quarterbacks at all. I do see us trading James Bradberry, but honestly, like you said, the market is not really that hot. I think it's just because it's a 1 year left, and I feel like a team might want to
And
just go ahead
and
and see
also
the Giants bluff.
Kid Blue popped something in the chat along. I'm assuming this is with the James Bradberry thing. He says because his cap hit this year is 21 million. Nobody wants to pay the cap hit plus like a mid-round pick plus the fact that it's just a 1 year left, right? So
Yep.
that is definitely a strong argument for why we're not hearing too much about who's trying to trade for Bradberry.
Yeah, so I definitely think that it's going to end up just being a release. I don't see him coming back next season. When it comes to the draft part of it, if we do release him, I do see us going at least with the pick 7, going corner, especially with the new defensive end. Defensive coordinator we got Wink. Um, That's what he cares about. Is the secondary. He said it in his little podcast that he did with one of the Giants people.
Hmm.
He cares about schemes. He'll scheme up the rush. So he doesn't really care about an edge rusher that much. So I do think that we would go for a corner before we go for an edge in the draft. Right tackle, of course, that's going number 5 for sure. I like the 2 signings that we did. Some people feel like they're not home runs, but honestly,
Real
look at
quick,
the Rams.
I want you to talk about Mark Glowinski because, like I was telling Mike earlier, and then Jake even before Mike, it just seems like Giants fans are not too excited about it. And me personally, I feel like we should be more excited about it. He's not like a Kevin Zeitler Pro Bowler type
Exactly. But he'll
right
get the
guard,
job done.
but he's like just a level below. He's a really really good starting right guard.
Exactly. I don't see us. I feel like that signing right there is definitely going to go ahead and help Barkley. I don't see us getting rid of Barkley right
Oh
now
yeah,
just
bro, he's a
because
great run. He's a great
you
guy
see,
in the run
and I
game.
feel like that's going to, no matter who the quarterback's going to be, as long as we get the running game going, I feel like whatever quarterback we're going to have is going to help them out. And with that signing, is definitely going to help our run game. So it's going to open up the passing game as well.
One thing I want
So I
to
think
point out real quick, though, by the way, Xavier, because you brought up Saquon, and we were talking about how the strong suit of Mark is the run game. I could say the same thing for Jon Feliciano. I think his run blocking is better than his pass blocking, and I don't know. This is just speculation, of course, but I think the Giants, both through the draft and free agency, whatever, the linemen they're gonna bring in are gonna be guys that are better in run blocking. The only reason I say this is because last year we had a bad offensive line. We could all agree we didn't have great talent on the offensive line. But there was multiple times during multiple games where somehow, some way, pass protection was schemed up. And I was talking about that in my reaction videos as well. I was like, yo, for like this entire drive, DJ had a pocket. This entire drive, he had like 2 seconds to pass. There was multiple times where he had average time in the pocket to pass. So they could scheme up pass protection, but one thing for the life of them they couldn't scheme up was running lanes, creating those running lanes. So I feel like that's maybe why we see Mark and John, 2 guys who may be leaning towards that way. And they feel like, yo, we could get this pass protection up and running just fine, but we need to create running lanes for a running back. What do you think about that?
Oh no, I agree 100%. I honestly do feel like I know Dable was more of a pass heavy coach, but I kind of feel like if we keep Saquon, I feel like they might go a little bit more run than pass. I feel like they're gonna try to have DJ to be at the end of the day. I don't think DJ is gonna make it after his 5th year. I think at that time, I feel like no matter if he's gonna be a starter or not, I think we're gonna let him go regardless. So I feel like they're gonna try to manage him like an Alex Smith, just manage the game. Don't win us the game, but don't lose us the game. So I really do feel like we're going to be heavy in the run game and kind of put most of the offensive plays through Saquon. And like you said, I think that's why we target the O lineman that we did. My biggest concern with John would just be the aspect of him playing center.
Hmm.
I know he has played center in the
It was
past with
only
the
a
Bills and
couple
things like
snaps,
that.
man. It wasn't even that much.
Exactly. Exactly. So I do my opinion, this is how I just think. I think that they might try to go ahead and get the tackle that can play tackle and guard Williams from the Bills that got released as well. If they can sign him, I think they're gonna kick um John over to a guard.
So
Um
this is what I'll
okay.
say to that, right? I just want to say that I agree with you on the Jon Feliciano thing. I like the signing. In fact, I wanted the signing 3 weeks ago on this very same show. Shout out to Manny Madrigal. He brought it up to me, and I was like, that's somebody we should target. The thing is, I'm with you. It has nothing to do with him in particular. It's just that I would rather a center that is a center through and through, that, has played center for their entire career, has, trained for center their entire career. Jon Feliciano, I think he only had like 8
It's
snaps or
like
something
100 and
at
like
center.
yeah, it
I'm
wasn't that
talking about
many.
like last year, it was like 8 or something. Do you know the number?
Yeah, honestly, I think he played a couple games last season. Then he got COVID, and once he came back from COVID, they didn't play him again.
Yeah, so I mean, there's that as well, but it's like I would rather him be at left guard and us
Yeah.
try and get maybe Alec Lindstrom in the 3rd round. I feel like that's something
Mm-hmm.
very doable. We get a center, but I'm gonna trust where they go with it because I've even had Bills fans tell me, I've been asking online trying to get a feel on the guy. They're like, "Don't worry, he'll be fine at center." So I'm like, okay, at the very least, listen, Nick Gates was a guard to center. Hopefully, there's the same success there. And shout out to Mike Nixon. He says, it's a member chat thing I gotta read out. He says, Coach, tomorrow is also Georgia's pro day, and we're gonna use top 30 interview with James Cook because they're in love with James Cook, and he's also doing wide receiver drills tomorrow. So pro day tomorrow. It seems like we always do draft the Georgia Bulldog. We'll see if that trend continues this year. And James Cook, for those of you that don't know, is the running back for Georgia. You know, one of the better running backs in this draft. So I mean, if the
His brother
Giants,
plays for the Vikings.
what's up?
His brother plays for the Vikings.
That's that. Yeah, he's brother of Dalvin Cook, right? So I mean, and Dalvin Cook is a great running back as well. Sober party, what's up? We got Duran in here, Cresley. But yeah, go ahead, man.
So my question, my question to you is: I feel like due to some of the releasing that happened, Miles Jacks, I think his name is, from the Jaguars that just got cut. The center with the Browns,
JC Treader, that is somebody that like, if because we don't know what the cap situation is right now. We'll know tomorrow. Like we'll know tomorrow by 4 p.m. If we got any type,
do you think, exactly. Now, do you think that with those type of key players that, those are the type of players that I would want to go ahead and have for the future? Especially Miles Jack with the middle linebacker. I don't see us bringing back Blake Martinez. So if we do have, just say, we sign him for a 3-year deal, but we kind of backload that contract, Blake Martinez is going to come off the books next season regardless. So we're going to need a starting middle linebacker. That's someone that can come in, help now and in the future. So do you think they're going to try to create the cap space by, maybe restructuring the contract with Leonard Williams? I don't see them kind of reconstructing the contract for Kenny Galladay, because I honestly feel like after next season they're going to try to cut him. I don't think he fits the scheme of what they're trying to do when it comes to wide receivers, but I do think that they might want to keep Lenny for a little bit longer. So do you think they can go ahead and reconstruct his contract?
Well, they can try for sure. And remember, right, when we talk about restructuring, one thing a lot of fans seem to forget is that the player is also involved. The player has the choice whether or not to say, yeah, let me restructure my contract.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And no, I'm saying this for in general, too, for the viewers as well and any Giants fans out there. If you're a player, you're not going to want to restructure because it always means losing money at least in the short term. Sometimes it gets put off to the long term, but we've seen before, like, players get cut before they could get some of their not guaranteed, they get cut before they could get, like, basically their full contract. So it's always a risk for them. If they want to restructure somebody, Leonard, I guess, would be the guy. I'd probably go to Adoree Jackson first, I'll be honest with you, because I want to keep Leonard Williams a bit happy. One thing fans don't realize is that we don't have a great defensive tackle room anymore like we did a couple years ago. A couple years ago, the defensive tackle room was the strongest part on the line or on the team without question, and it was very, very deep. We just lost Austin Johnson yesterday. For those of you that don't know, he went to the Chargers. We have Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, and that's it. At one point, we had Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, BJ Hill, and Austin Johnson. That's a deep and great rotation. Now we just have two of them. We need to draft somebody else because we need a third starting defensive tackle, and then we need to build the depth, over the next couple of years. We need to build that depth back up. But because we only have those two, I'm gonna try and keep them a bit happy, and I'm also definitely giving Dexter Lawrence the 5th-year option. We talk so much about Daniel Jones' 5th-year option. The defensive tackle market is expensive. Did you guys see how much DJ Jones just signed for? It's crazy. DJ Jones had a big contract. That dude Sebastian Joseph Day had a big contract. Even BJ Hill had like a relatively big contract. Yeah. So it's like, you're gonna need to give him Dexter Lawrence that 5th-year option because it's gonna be cheap, at least compared to everything else, and then maybe extend him next year. But we gonna need to build up that defensive tackle room. And I will say I'd go after JC Treader before I go after Miles Jack because I would rather draft the linebacker this year. It's a very nice and deep linebacker class. Have him on the rookie deal, have him be the starter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with that one. And last point before I jump off, we are gonna draft for tight end 100%. But
we got to. We got Chris Myrick. We need to draft our starting tight end.
Yeah. But like the last caller did say, I can see us going after O.J. Howard just because he had a bad season last season. I don't think it's going to cost that much. Yes, Evan Ingram got a prove-it deal with $9 million. I think that was more because the Jaguars just really wanted him that bad. So instead of him going to
the Jaguars, they pay Christian Kirk $21 million too. So like, there's that.
Exactly. That's how they get their players. They just overpay for them, and because that's the only way they're going to get them. I do feel like with him having some type of connection with Dable, and him having the offseason last year, I can't see us getting OJ for a 1 year, $4 or $5 million prove-it type deal. And then if he excels, then obviously we go ahead and re-sign him next season.
I mean, I guess I could see where the OJ Howard love is coming out of. I also do remember a lot of Giants fans wanted OJ Howard. Like there was 3 tight ends that year. It was Howard, Njoku, and Ingram. And it was like fans that were, that wanted tight end. It was always split between those 3. But I guess I see why now he's coming back up. You know, like you said, the last caller brought up the Brian Dable connection. I do it only if it's really cheap. And man, it just really, really depends on the cap situation. I can't even say anything right now because we're in a good position to get this, like, the best tight end in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Like, the best tight end in the draft, in my opinion, is Trey McBride. And he's probably not going to go to the third round. That's a great situation. That means we don't have to take a tight end in the first, don't have to take a tight end in the second, and we could still get the best guy available that could probably, or not probably, that will start in a third round. Like, that's such a good situation to me, and I'm just like, you know, obviously it's a risk. Nobody knows if anybody's going to, you know, trade up for him. Nobody knows if, you know, somebody's going to take him early. So that's where I'm looking at a guy. I think he was already signed, unfortunately, but I was looking at a guy like Mo Alley-Cox from the Colts, veteran, older guy, super cheap. Is there anybody else that fits that bill? I have to check the tight end market on Spot Rack or something. Let me see.
The tight end that used to play for the Ravens and went to Atlanta, I forgot his last name.
Hayden Hurst? He would be cheap.
Yes.
Do you think he would be cheap?
I think he would be cheap because he didn't have that great of a season when he went over to the Falcons, and he does have a connection with the tight end coach that's with the Giants now too.
Yeah. So, like, there's Hayden Hurst, there's OJ Howard. You know, I mean, Jared Cook is an old man, but if the old man Jared Cook wants to come over on a cheap deal, I'll do that as well.
That would work too. My biggest fear is I just don't want to, you know, the last Dave Gettleman and all of them, what they did was, okay, we're not going to hit this target in free agency because we're going to hit this in the draft, and we want this one specific player. And then when that one specific player wasn't there, then it's okay. Well, we're going in whatever we have, and that's what kind of happened with us with the O-line this past season. So I just don't want them to go ahead and fall in love with, okay, I know for a fact we're going to get this player. This is the only player we want, you know, at this position. He's not there because they were screwed. We have, like you said, we don't have no tight ends at all. So we can get, I don't care, honestly, at this point, I don't care who it is. If we just get a tight end that can block, but most importantly, catch, because we haven't had that in the last 5 years. As long as we can get a tight end that can catch, I think basically be a safety net for Daniel Jones or Taylor. I think it'll make the situation much easier and you know, under center.
I completely agree with you there, man. Real quick, Kevin says, did we trade Bradberry? I had it in the thumbnail once again as rumors. I was very careful with my wording. I didn't want to fool anybody by accident or be clickbaity. I had it as rumors because that's what it is. But rumor, like the biggest rumor right now, is that he's going to be traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 5th-round pick. Obviously, nothing's been confirmed. We haven't seen any reports, but we'll find out tomorrow by 4 p.m. That's all I can say, man. It's not that long away from now. Like, everything will be revealed tomorrow.
Oh, and watch out for Darius Slayton too. I think we either gonna release him by 4 o'clock.
I made when I made a video, I think it was 3 weeks ago, about, you know, players the Giants could cut to reach Joe Shane's, you know, $40 million cap space, you know, freeing up that he wants to make. Darius Slayton was one of the dudes that popped up because he has like no dead cap if we cut him, but he takes off, I want to say, around 3 or 4 million.
Yep, I can definitely see us getting rid of him either through trade if we can, probably not just with a release, and then I can see us really focusing in the draft for a wide receiver because the class is really deep. Definitely when it comes to wide receiver class, so I won't be surprised with that. Like I said, I don't see us getting rid of Saquon. I just don't. If we get rid of him, who are we replacing him with? That's gonna be able to do what he does. I understand it was an off season. He's coming back from a.
Well, I'll say this, right? Just like how we've talked about multiple positions being deep. You know, you've talked about, for example, Sauce being a replacement for Bradberry, and then right just now, you said the wide receiver class is deep, right? Running back class is much of the same. Mike just commented on James Cook, who the Giants seem to like, at least based off the Giants Life episode. I think is what he's getting that off of. But there's there's a lot of running backs in this draft, man, and we've seen countless. You know, no, I'm just saying we've seen countless times in the NFL. You could get that guy in like the 3rd round. You know, you could get a legit starting running back in the 3rd round.
No, I agree 100%. I think my biggest fear is just I don't want to put too much on DJ if he is a starting quarterback. You know, like I just feel like, you know, this is the 2nd year coming off of Barkley's injury. You know, history has proven off those type of injuries is usually the 2nd year where they're back to where they need to be. You know, between that and the fact that we're actually having a GM that's actually focusing on the offensive line. Barkley has never had an offensive line since he's been here. You know, now I'm not a believer of giving a running back a huge contract. I think that's asinine, especially like you said, you can get, decent, good, great running backs late in the draft. But I do feel like at least for this season, I feel like we need to go ahead and kind of see what Barkley has, try to drive up their, his trade value and see if we can flip him. I just don't want to go ahead and get rid of him for a 6 or 7. Why not keep him for the first half of the season, see what he can do, then try to flip him. At the end of the day, I feel like.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
Now, I was just going to say, let me get this super chat right here by Tudo Missouri. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Tudo, who says, we were able to eliminate the #1 World Cup favorite in the overtime power play and my team without me, but I was in the box seat with all the radios running, the defense schemes like a coach. Tudo, you need to tell me the name of your team, right? So for those of you that don't know, he's a professional rugby player. I'm definitely going to try and check you out, man, because it sounds like you guys are doing extremely well. Congratulations on that. And then with the Saquon thing, with extending him, I agree with you on that. I want to see what he does this year. I mean, here's the tough part is obviously going to be, what if he comes out and he just balls out? What if he comes out and, like, for the first time in 3 years, he's Saquon again? Do I give him a big contract? Unfortunately, my answer might still be no, because it's like,
no,
it's
not at all. You don't give him a big contract,
it's literally because it's not worth it. Look at the Cowboys with Zeke right now. The reason they traded Amari Cooper is because Zeke's contract is too much. The reason that, like, DeMarcus Lawrence might walk is Zeke's contract is too much. People were saying, oh, but they were about to give what's his name, $70 million contract, Randy Gregory. For those of you that don't know, the reason Randy Gregory turned back on that deal and then went to the Broncos was because last minute Jerry Jones changed the amount of money he was gonna give him, made it less, because once again they don't got money because of Zeke, the Zeke contract, and so he went to the Broncos. Like,
oh, no,
man, and I love
100%.
Saquon too. Saquon is actually my favorite player on the team. Like, he's a big reason as to why this channel even exists. I started like taking football more seriously as more than just a fan because of Saquon Barkley. So, but it's, hey man, it is what it is.
No, I agree 100%. But I think if he does have a good season, you either try to flip him at the deadline. If you can't, he continues to have a good season. You give him a mark. You give him a contract, nothing crazy. If he doesn't take it, he signs a huge contract with someone else, and we still get a pick. So it's still, my biggest thing is I don't want to go ahead and sell low with his value so low. If we trade him now, we're only gonna get like a 6. If he balls out, great. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some type of team that's gonna be battling, give him a crazy number when it comes to next season contract, and we're still gonna get a pick regardless. We'll probably get a higher pick that way than we'll do if we trade him right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I look at it. Just ride it out. That's just how I look at it with that. We did spend the #2 draft pick, which was stupid when we did it, but we still did it. So we also got to keep that in the back of our mind. We have,
and then this is going back to DJ as well, which we already talked about, Tyrod and DJ. But it's like, the fact is, in my opinion, the best thing to do is just let him play. If he wins. Now at this point, it's like, okay, if he wins the starting job, let him play. Let's see what he does. If he's good, all right, you really got to consider re-signing him. If he's not good, hey, Tyrod is literally the bridge quarterback for whoever's the replacement.
I think the problem with DJ is going to be, even if he is good, I don't see us re-signing him, just because I feel like with the quarterback draft class next season, the top 3-4 quarterbacks that's coming in next year is all better than DJ. So if you let DJ walk, you're basically resetting your quarterback clock, where we can go ahead and do something like the Chargers are doing, going all in, getting JC Jackson, I forgot his name, the corner, and then you get Khalil Mack, and you get all these players, you throwing all this money because your quarterback's on a rookie deal.
I'll say this, right, because I agree with you in principle, but I do got to say, like, just based off of this happens every year, right? Like, the quarterback draft class changes so much in 1 year. We'll have to see if these guys are still, like, the guys, you know what I mean? Because, like, Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell, where in the world are they right now? They're not even the #1 quarterbacks like we thought they were going to be a year ago.
No, I agree. I don't think that the quarterback from Ohio State going to drop that far. Or the one for Alabama.
Stroud and Young, right? And like I was saying, I was making jokes earlier with Tyrod Taylor. People were saying that he has a similar play style to Malik Willis. I was like, yo, we signed him on a 2-year deal. He could be a mentor to CJ Stroud. They have kind of similar play styles.
But and, that's true. We'll see. Look at all the quarterbacks that he's done it for. He's done it for
Mayfield,
he's done it for
Justin Herbert.
Herbert, yeah. So
and even Davis Mills, you could consider it.
Exactly. So I think that's the reason of why they even selected him and gave him the 2 years because I really feel like the front office is really not sold on DJ. And regardless, logically, even if he has a good season, I still don't think he's better than any other quarterback that's coming into the draft. That's coming in the first round of the draft next season.
So let me ask you this real quick, because I don't want to keep Sam waiting too long in the back there. Actually, Sam, I think I recognize that profile picture. Text in the private chat, Sam, if you've been on call before, and I'll let you. I just want to see if I could keep Xavier on a little bit longer. But I want to ask you, are you okay? Then bet. So you won't have any problem waiting that much then, because you know how the show goes. Are you a guy that believes in BPA, or are you positional value when it comes to the draft?
I'm best player.
Your best player available?
Especially
So
with all the holes that we have.
I'm gonna ask you this though, because the reason I asked you is because you said Saquon Barkley was a stupid pick, but he was BPA at the time in 2018. And then if you are a BPA believer, and I'm not even doing this, I'm saying not to like pick on you or anything, but
fine.
this was something that was brought up by KB in KB stream earlier today, and I was like, he's right. If you truly are best player available, the best player in this draft class is Kyle Hamilton, and he's a safety, and he's not going number 1 overall. I don't care what anybody says.
That's true. I'll give you that. That is
You know
true.
what I'm saying? So I'm like, inherently, I do feel like people, they do have positional value in mind, even though maybe it's not in, they don't know it, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense. But I feel like when people be like, I want to take the best player available, I feel like it's the best player available that makes sense for your team at that moment, if that makes sense. So yeah, Barkley was the best player, on the board at that time. But why take a running back that high when our line is trash? Now we had a solid line. Oh, of course, if you want to go off of value, you're not going to go ahead and take a running back second, regardless if you have a good line or not, because it's a running back. You can get that in the later draft. But if my line is solidified and is a top 5, top 10, top 15 line, especially in run blocks, I'm gonna take Barkley because it makes sense. For us, we should have went guard. We should have went anything on the line back then, So I do get the point. And when it does come with, I like Hamilton. I really feel like with him and Xavier in the back, that will solidify our back. But we have so many needs that we can't really do that.
Oh, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. Yeah.
So yes, we go ahead and take best player available, but it has to be common sense best player available. So if you got don't get me wrong, I like the defensive end out of Oregon. I think
Kayvon.
I like him. Yeah, I like him a lot. But if it's either him or a tackle, I'm taking the tackle because we need a block. Especially with the defensive scheme that we have. If he's telling me, and from all the films that I've seen with the Ravens, if you can scheme up pressure, I'm not worried about giving you an edge rusher. Scheme up the pressure, however way you need to do it. If you're telling me you need, your secondary is what you need, then I want sauce. I'm going to go ahead and give you the players that you said that you need the most. So that's where it comes in with, best player available with, along what you need.
No, I agree with you. I just think people just need to realize that with best player available comes exactly what you say. There is a little bit of positional value to it, and then what your team need is, because then there's people who say, oh, you don't draft for need if you're picking top 10, you pick the best player available. I'm like, are you sure about that? Are you sure that you draft the quote unquote best player available? No, you're gonna need to see what actually fits your team and is gonna serve your team and help your team out the most. You know what I mean? But oh yeah, Logan Ryan could be a cap casualty. We'll see, man. There's so many things that's gonna go down tomorrow.
But how much money are we saving if we get rid of him? Because I've been seeing that, but everyone's saying that would just basically be a cut off of, he just doesn't fit the scheme type stuff.
So, I mean, you got to remember, we gave Logan Ryan way too much money, bro. We gave him a 3-year, $31 million deal. Damn. So,
I think we only going to save $900,000 if that.
Yeah, because his cap hit is $12.25 million, but the dead cap is $11.4 million. So, yeah, we'd probably just save a couple $100,000. That is terrible. Yeah. Jesus, that's a trash contract. My God.
And I heard the only reason that we're even looking to get rid of him is just because they just feel like he just won't be a good fit defensively. And I think that's why we're just trying to get rid of him to get a draft pick. But the only team I could see maybe doing that would just be the Patriots. Because, the Patriots always like going back, getting their old players back and stuff like that for 1 or 2 years, quick run. But I honestly don't think that we're going to get rid of Logan Ryan.
It's just it
Again,
doesn't
I
make
think
sense.
exactly. Everyone keeps on saying everyone get rid of this person, we get rid of this person, but when we get rid of someone, we have to replace them. So if we're going to get rid of Logan Ryan, who are we going to replace him with?
No,
Julian
no,
Love?
I legitimately do think that yeah, no, you might disagree with me, but I would rather run with Julian Love and maybe a rotation of somebody we take later on in the draft because of the fact that if we just get out the money next year. Like I could see that logic, and I'd be like, all right, I understand where you're coming from with that logic, because cutting him, even though it saves us basically nothing this year, it means we just get out the contract for next year too. Like he's still here for 2 more years.
But I think if we
I'm
cut
just
him
saying I
next year, we'll
understand
save
the
more money.
logic. By the
No,
way,
I
I'm
get
not
it. Like
necessarily saying
rip
that
the
I
band.
agree
No,
with
I
it.
get it. Rip the band-aid off now. Why wait later? So I
Yeah.
understand that. But I also heard that they was, that we might go ahead and cut Julian Love too, because I think he's making like $2.1 million or something like that off of his rookie deal went up because of the amount of playing time, the amount of snaps that he got last season. So they was like he might be someone
I
that
don't
we could
think we
cut
could
too
cut
to
both.
save some money.
If we cut both, that wouldn't make sense because then we don't have somebody next to McKinney. Because
Oh
remember,
yeah, nah,
because
yeah. I'm not saying cut both, right?
Peppers is a free agent, right? Like we haven't re-signed Peppers, so there's literally nobody next to him if we cut the other two.
How you feel about it? Do you think they might go ahead and re-sign him?
I honestly don't know. I really don't have an answer for that, man. Straight up.
I wouldn't mind doing it, and I think we might be able to get a bargain deal just because of two reasons.
His
One,
injury.
his injury, and two, hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And a
We'll
lot of
see.
people, I used to play basketball. I used to play college basketball, so I know how it feels to go ahead and be able to play in your hometown, in your home city, and get that home love. So we might be able to go ahead and get a prove it deal out of Julian Love. I mean, out of
Jabro.
Peppers.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
like, I could see that from Peppers. He's a really, really passionate guy, and he does love this area. So I could see it happening, and I'm completely down. The thing is, like, I don't want to cut any of these players. I don't think any fan wants to do it. Like, we all have an attachment to them, right? It's the situation that we're in. But Xavier, let me get your last thought, man, before I pop you out and get Sam in here. And thank you for calling in, man. I think this was your first time. Definitely hope to talk to you in the
sir.
future. It's every Tuesday, man, same time. So definitely pop back in.
Yeah, I'll most definitely go ahead and I'm gonna start calling in from time to time. I've been, watching your show, huge fan from the background and stuff. So I was able to finally call in, got my kids to sleep and whatnot. But yeah, just I just want all the Giants fans to understand we gotta be patient. It's one thing that a lot of New York fans in general, when it comes to basketball, football, baseball, we're just not patient. We want to
Mm-hmm.
win now. We want things to turn around, quickly. Give them a chance. Let's be patient. Let's ride it out. Do not expect this to go into the playoffs this season. This is not a playoff team. That shouldn't be the goal. The goal right now is just develop. Let's try to develop all the young people. Let's see if DJ's the answer or not, and let's just move forward from there. Next year, we won't be, in cap hell. We'll have, I think, maybe 80 to 90 million dollars, depending on if we keep a couple of players or not. So just be patient. Just be patient and just hope for the best.
Mm-hmm. Hey, man, you know what? That was a great last thought. I agree with you. And have a good night, man. Thank you so much. Oh, damn. I think I clipped him out as he was saying something. My bad, Xavier. I didn't mean to do that. Sam, before I pop you in, there's a couple things from the chat that I want to just make sure I didn't miss anything right here. Luan, what's up? How you doing? Actually, not that much. Cresley saying Foster is better than Slayton. We have to see. You're not the first person I've seen said that. I don't know if we're saying that because we're all scorned by Darius Slayton or if Robert Foster actually is better than Darius Slayton. Have not had a chance to look into him. So if somebody has, you got a little bit of a detailed answer you want to put in the chat, go ahead and do that. Matt says dumping Ryan only saved us $750 this year, but it gets us out the rest of the money of next season. That is true. And Mike says reality of Gelman. That is also true. Shout out to Mylan B for subscribing. And guys, we got around 120 people in here. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button. I only see around 38 likes. Sam, what's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Like I was telling everybody else, your floor. Pick one of the many topics there is to talk about, and let's start off.
One thing I just want to go back on is you said you'd rather have J.C. Trader over
Miles Jack.
over Miles Jack.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it. I know we need center really badly, but JC's is on the later part of his career. He's 31 years old. I think he'll be 32 going into the season, while Miles Jack is still 26. I I just think as a future thing, Miles Jack is still one of the better better linebackers in the league. I think that if we have a chance to get an established linebacker that can cover, that can go from sideline to sideline, I think we take that over the center. That we could have maybe 2 more good years in him, and then we have to look at that position again.
So this would be my counter argument to that, I guess, right? Shout out to Mike for subscribing. It would be that because he's older, maybe he take a cheaper contract, something very similar to what we gave our right guard right now, Mark Glowinski. Mark Glowinski is about to turn 30, and you could say the same thing. He maybe has 3 or 4 years of good football left in him, much like J.C. Tretter. And then it's like, just like Miles Jack, who you made a great point. He's younger. He's probably about to be entering his prime. I feel like we could get that by just drafting either Devin Lloyd or Nakobe Dean. Like, take the best linebacker in this draft and get your center solidified. Like, that's what I'm looking at.
But I don't know if I want, like, obviously those are 2 great players you could draft that you wouldn't go wrong. I wouldn't be upset if we took them, but I think we have bigger needs. I think cornerback and line is where we should go at 5 and 7. I don't think linebackers as big of a need as corner if we get rid of Bradberry, and obviously we need a right tackle.
So let me just ask you real quick, what do you think about Christian Harris? Because he will be there in the second round for our second round pick out of Alabama.
I like Christian Harris, but in the second round, I kind of want to see if maybe we could get another guard like Zion Johnson. I've seen people have Kenyon Green fallen now because of his bad combine performance, have him fallen down even more. Even if we don't get him in the second, I think we might be in a position to where if we're at, let's just say like 22, 23, we could trade back up into the first round since we have so much draft capital this year to get a Linderbaum, get one of those guys if they're there in the 20s. And I think that would just make a lot more sense.
I'm glad you brought up like trading back up because, and this is just, I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with you. It's just a debate between the 2 methods which to go with, right? I could say the same thing though. I could say we could trade back up and get somebody who, like Nakobe Dean, I feel like is going to fall somewhere in the teens. So we could trade back up to like 16 or 17 and probably get him, just like we could trade back up to the teens and get a Tyler Linderbaum or a Kenyon Green.
I don't know. I think the teens is going to be a harder place to trade up because you have the Eagles with 3 picks in the teens, and you're not, obviously the Eagles aren't going to let you trade back up with them. Then you have the Chargers, and I think if the Chargers are in prime position for somebody like Jordan Davis, their run game or their run defense was really bad, and if they could get somebody to clog it up the middle,
they did. Don't forget they did just sign Austin Johnson, who, once again, Giants fans kind of slept in on him as a run stuffer. He had the 3rd most run stops by a defensive tackle in the league last year. So I don't know, man. I'm not saying it completely takes them out, but that certainly addresses their problem up the middle. And he was also tied 10th for run stuffing percentage as well. So like I said, like Austin Johnson was a great player for us, and those, that statistic kind of translates to what they needed.
Yeah, they could, and I think that if that's the case, they go if Penning's there, they might take Penning at 17 because they just cut Brian Bulaga today, so they need tackle. So I don't know if they would let you trade back up into the teens. Right after them is the Saints, and if what we're hearing is true, the Saints might be the number 1 guys to get Watson. So I don't know if the Texans would let you trade back out or back with them. So you'd be looking into the teens anyways, and I don't think you get Dean or Lloyd there. I think it's a much more realistic option if you trade up like in front of the Bills, like 24 around there. Because I think the Bills could take offensive linemen, and I also think that the Bengals would be dumb not to around there. So I don't know. I mean, I'm
just pulling up the draft order right now. So the Bills pick at 25. These are the teams, like the 5 teams picking right behind them, right? So you got Pittsburgh at 20, New England at 21, Vegas at 22, Arizona at 23, Dallas at 24. Who in there would you say we trade with?
I don't think Pittsburgh. Maybe Arizona. I think Arizona isn't, like, when you look at their roster, they're not in dire need of really anything. Arizona's kind of good on a lot of things. Maybe they could go wide receiver, losing Kirk.
I was about to say they might lose Chandler Jones. They might want to use that on somebody like David Ojabo, who could potentially be there, Jermaine Johnson, who could potentially be there. There's a couple edge rushers that could be there. They might want to use that on because Chandler is a free agent. And J.J. Watt is not
Yeah.
getting any younger too. Like they don't have anybody. You know, they lost Hassan Riddick last offseason. They got J.J. Watt who's aging, and then Chandler's about to leave. So I definitely think edge rusher is something they're looking to fix.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I just think that I wouldn't want to crowd the offensive line with a bunch of older guys. We just got 2 guys in their 30s, and if we get another one that's in, 2, 3 years maybe, we're going to be in the same problem we are in now, that we don't have guys on the offensive line. So I just think that maybe drafting a guard second round or first round, wherever it is, whoever's there, if they trade back up, and then you have a guy on defense that's going to be there, if you re-sign him, because he could just choose not to come back. But if you re-sign him, he's there for at least another 4 years.
Now,
And
oh, go ahead.
That lets you get rid of Blake Martinez next year. So you cut Blake Martinez next year, and you still have a guy that I think is better than Blake Martinez. I think Myles Jack's one of the most underrated linebackers in the NFL.
No, I agree with you there. Everybody was surprised for a reason. The fact that the Jacksonville cut them, but Jacksonville was making a lot of questionable moves the past couple of days. Now, I said, like you said, it was just off of that comment I made. But I think the best solution here, which is what I want the Giants to do, is we have 2 third-round picks. Use one of them on Alec Lindstrom, who is a center that's going to beat her in the 3rd round, and then use one of them on one of the couple linebackers that I believe could be potentially there in the 3rd round. You guys know I love Chad Muma, but there's also Brandon Smith out of Penn State, and there's Leo Chenal out of Wisconsin. These are guys that could, I wouldn't have a problem starting them day one, and they could develop into a really good, middle linebacker. Like, use both of the 3rd round picks there on those 2 positions.
And then hold on tight end until maybe round 4.
Tight end. Okay, you got me. You definitely got me in a little bit of a situation there, because let's say we go tackle with one of the first. So we go tackle, corner. And then if I get center no, I probably get the tight end in the 2nd round at that point. Oh, no. Okay, so here's the thing. This goes back to, just how the draft falls. If they think Trey McBride is going to go early. If they think Trey McBride is going to go early, maybe you take him in the 2nd round. Otherwise, you look at somebody like a Boy Mafe or Maya J. Sanders for an edge in the 2nd round. And then at tight end, yeah, 4th round, it's not ideal. It really isn't when I think about it. But if I want to get that center and that linebacker position locked up, it would be 4th round. And that goes back to the Giants, right? If they say tight end is more important, which I could completely agree with, because we have only Chris Myrick, and they use one of the 3rd round picks on tight end, that means we lose out on either center or linebacker in this scenario. Well, I mean, that's just how it falls, I guess.
Yeah, and one point I wanted to bring up, I know me myself too, I love Kayvon Thibodeau, but look at the way the Ravens use their pass rushers, and look at how much better they get when they leave Baltimore. On the same team, they had Matt Judon, who just made, I think, an all-pro team, and they had Zadarius Smith at the same time, 2 all-pro edge rushers, and neither of them produced at an all-pro level because of that scheme where it was more linebackers and safeties coming up and getting all the sacks and the pressures. So I kind of think that it's going to be hard, because if Kayvon Thibodeau's there, you obviously want to take him, but I think that it might be you might glance at the fact of letting them go. Because I think corner's a lot bigger of a need, especially with this system. If we had Pat Graham, I'd want Kayvon Thibodeau right away. But with this system, I think that if you could get Sauce, a man cover corner, especially with the freaky length that he has, he could be your Marlon Humphrey, your bigger Marlon Humphrey that the Baltimore Ravens had. And then you just I think if they got Myles Jack, you could scheme him and Martinez to go in, and I think it'd be a lot more effective than if you were to get Kayvon Thibodeau. Just based off the scheme we run, he might be a better player on a different team, and we might look dumb for not taking him. But I don't know.
So
we should have took Micah Parsons. That one sucks to have to go against him probably for the next decade.
So first off, shout out to Viz. What's up, man? How you doing? It's been a minute seeing you here in the chat. Second off, I'm all on the Sauce Gardner train. For a minute now, like over the past couple weeks, I've really warmed up to him, and after taking a look at his tape, I am really all in at Sauce at 7. The whole Kayvon Thibodeau thing, I haven't spoken on it much purely because I don't think he's dropping there. I really don't see how Kayvon drops to 5 or even to 7. I feel like he's going to be
I don't either.
a top 5, top 3 pick. So like I haven't even been entertaining the thought of Kayvon Thibodeau. Like it hasn't really been in my mind that much. It would be great if he drops there. You know what I'm saying? And then to your thing about the scheme, right? I'm so glad that I got a friend named Engraven Vids. He's a Ravens YouTuber. He does other NFL content as well, but he's super big, right? We've been we've connected over YouTube for a while now, and he came on the channel last month to talk about specifically Wink's scheme, and I asked him the same thing with the edge rushers, like the concern that you have, right? And so this is what he said. Part of it supports exactly what you're saying, and part of it is could be an explanation for why that is. Now he said Ravens fans, they always wondered that why under Wink their edge rushers were not producing up to potential, because they see them, like you were saying, go to the Packers, produce at an all pro level, go to the Patriots and have like sacks galore. But when they were here, that was not the case. And he says part of it is because Wink values the secondary more, and he uses the secondary a bit more to scheme up that pressure. But part of it is also because they didn't have a guy like Leonard Williams on the team to take care of the inside so that the edges could deliver home. And like this is off of what Engraven is saying, right? He's saying that because we have actually two guys in Leonard and Dexter that could legitimately, not only stuff the run, but also push the pocket a little bit from the middle, collapse the middle, so to speak. Maybe that could affect the way that Wink uses his edges, but, obviously don't count on it. So like I was saying, it supports what you're saying, but then he's also like, maybe here's like a little explanation for why that's going on. But I'm all in on the Sauce Gardner at 7 train.
I thought they had Calais Campbell.
I brought that up, and according to every single Ravens fan and basically anybody that watches them, Calais hasn't been the same guy for like at least 5 years now. And I would agree with that. At this point in their career, Leonard Williams is a better player than Calais Campbell. Calais Campbell is old, man. He is not what he was when he was with the Cardinals and like his first couple years with the Jaguars.
That Jaguars defense was ridiculous. It's sad to see how short they lasted. I saw something today that Miles Jack was the last player on that team from defense.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I remember the Bills game, the Bills playoff game. That defense was giving them fits. You had so many superstars on that team because at the time, AJ Boye was one of the better corners in the league. You had Jalen Ramsey. You had Paul Posluszny, who was a good linebacker.
Miles Jack, you had Calais, Yannick, and who was the guy that was opposite of Yannick? I keep forgetting. Either point is they had a great defense.
Yeah. So when you were saying about Kayvon not being there, I don't think that he gets past the Jets, especially with what the Jets have been doing in free agency. And they already have a good enough offensive line. I think that's going to be what they do. I think they're going to take either Hamilton, since they just lost Marcus May. Marcus May just signed with the Saints. And I think that's probably one of the bigger needs. I think that we're going to have our pick at one of the two tackles that we want, and I think it's going to be Evan Neal. I think Ikem Ekwonu's going to be gone. I think he's going to go to the Texans. I think both the edge rushers are going to go 1-2. Then you're going to have him, or you're going to have Ekwonu go 3, and then you're going to have Hamilton go 4. That's how I think it's going to go. I just think the Jets spent they spent a lot. They got Brandon Sheriff. They tagged Cam Robinson.
No, the Jags tagged Cam Robinson.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
I think wasn't it the Jags that also signed Brandon Sheriff? Let me look this up real quick.
Yeah, the Jags signed Brandon Sheriff to 3-year.
Yeah. No, you were saying the Jets. That's why I got confused for a second. I'm like, who are we talking about here?
Yeah, the Jags. The Jags screwed up the market for what it's going to be bad. Like that Galladay contract does not look bad anymore.
Christian Kirk
17 now.
Christian Kirk making 21 and being the third highest paid wide receiver in the league makes no sense.
Because at least Julio, when he was the second highest paid, at least he was like a big name player.
He earned it when he got it.
But yeah. But like he's never had 1,000-yard season. He's never had more than 6 touchdowns, and he's also playing against arguably the best receiver in the NFL. So if you can't, like, look at what AB did to Juju that year they were there. Juju or AB made Juju a 1,400-yard receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And I think D Hop is just maybe not as good as AB that year, but I think D Hop is a good enough receiver to make the wide receiver 2 at least be very productive, 1,000-yard receiver. And I just didn't see it from Kirk. And I have a Cardinals fan that one of my buddies. He goes that they dodged a bullet with Christian Kirk, that he never liked Kirk, and that he didn't see him getting more than $12 million.
Mm-hmm. And man ends up getting 9 million more than that. And I by the way, I'm on Twitter now. I did just see what you mentioned. So Marcus Williams left the Saints. I mean Marcus why am I forgetting his name? Is it Marcus Williams? The safety from the Saints, whose name for some reason is slipping my mind. My bad, guys. Goes to the Ravens.
Yeah, Marcus Williams.
Yeah, Marcus Williams. And then the Saints just replaced him by signing Jet safety Marcus May. So yeah, I see what you're saying. I could definitely see Hamilton being a guy that they pick up at 4 right now.
Do you think the Saints are Super Bowl contenders if they get Watson? And let's say if Michael Thomas plays a full season, which he hasn't.
I gotta pull up their
2019.
roster, man. Hold up. Let me see the Saints roster or Saints depth chart.
Now they are losing out on one of their biggest players.
Tyrod Armstead, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't signed yet.
Let's see. So here's the Saints depth chart, right? So they would have Deshaun Watson at QB, Kamara running back, Thomas. You say he played a whole season. Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway, Adam Trotman at tight end. Teron Armstead is going to be gone, so we don't know who's going to be their left tackle. Then you got Pete, McCoy, Ruiz, Ramczyk. It's not a bad offense. They definitely need to get a good replacement for Armstead. Maybe they could use an upgrade at tight end. Then we're looking at their defense. Yo, Cam Jordan is getting a little bit up there in age, isn't he? Shy Tuttle.
Cam Jordan was the same draft class, I think, as Amukamara. I think
2011.
I believe so. I think he's like 30, 32, something or somewhere around.
Yeah, this
there.
defense, this defense in general is kind of aging a little bit. I don't know. I wouldn't put them as Super Bowl contenders, but definitely playoff contenders. They'll get back to where they were, when Drew Brees was there his last couple of years, which was playoff contenders. Ian says Armstead is waiting for the Watson situation, so I'm guessing he'll probably go back to the Saints or try to get back with the Saints if Watson is there. We'll see. I don't know. What do you think? What is your answer to that question?
I think that they can make a deep run in the playoffs, but I just think whoever comes out of the NFC, possibly the Niners. I think if Trey Lance could be just as good of a passer as Jimmy G, but he also has the legs, the mobility with him, I think that they're Super Bowl contenders. I think maybe the Packers, but they might be losing Devontae Adams. He turned down 23 a year.
Well, he turned down 23. So, I'm sure that has something to do with him seeing Christian Kirk getting 21.
Yeah, this wide receiver market, especially guys like Debo, they're going to be pushing 30 soon.
It's going to be too much, man. Like, we were talking, well, it's still a conversation that's had with the quarterback market is way too expensive. Now you got the wide receiver market climbing up as well. It's not scaled properly. Like, they're going to be making too much money, and, like, there's just not enough cap space.
But yeah, going back to the Super Bowl thing, I think whoever makes it out the AFC is going to win. I think that the AFC is such a more dominant conference right now. They have all the good young quarterbacks are in the AFC. The best young quarterback here is Kyler Murray, and I think the rest of them are all in the AFC. Unless Watson comes here, they have Herbert, Burrow, Allen, Mahomes. All the good young quarterbacks are over there. So I think the Chargers could be Super Bowl contenders this year with that defense. If they could.
Oh, the Chargers are going all in, man. You want to talk about a team that I definitely think could be legit contenders? They're doing everything right now. They're trying to capitalize so hard on Justin Herbert's rookie deal.
Yeah, I forgot who said it that J.C. Jackson might have got overpaid. J.C. Jackson took a pay cut to go to L.A. J.C. Jackson should be making $20 million a year. He's the second or third best cornerback in the NFL. and they got him for $16 million. They got a steal on J.C. Jackson. He had, I think, last 2 years, 17 interceptions by himself and the top 4 lowest passer rating when thrown to.
Mm-hmm.
They have him and Asante Samuel Jr., who could possibly get better, or who will get better now that he's not the one on that team. If Derwin James could stay healthy, they could have the best defense in the NFL if they go somebody like Jordan Davis too.
Mm-hmm.
Because then what do you do? What do you do? Like, how do you scheme against that defense? You can't really throw it against them, and you can't run it inside unless Jordan Davis, if hypothetically they get him, flops. And then on the outside, you have 2 monsters chasing you if you're the quarterback.
On paper, right now, it seems like a godly defense. I'll say that. Extremely beastly. Oh, we got a new caller in here. Hey, Miz, I'm about to pop you in then, Miz. Then, Sam, let me get your last thought, bro. And I guess whether it's about the Giants or the NFL, and I'll get you in here, man.
Where would you rank right now the Giants coaching staff? I think they have one of the best coaching staffs in the NFL. We just don't have right now the talent, I think. We have some guys, but I think we have arguably a top 5 coaching staff in the NFL.
I don't know if I could rank. I mean, we got to see the results. I mean, to rank them on paper, I don't know if I could compare it to the rest of the NFL, but on paper, comparing it to previous Giants regimes, I think it's the best Giants coaching staff since like 2010. I'll say that on paper.
Oh, it's not even close.
Comparing, yeah, I agree with you there. But comparing it to the rest of the NFL, man, I'm gonna have to actually see some results on the field before I do that.
Okay,
but hey,
pop out you.
Yeah, go. I was just gonna say, man, thank you for calling in. Shout out to you, man, for calling in. Like you said, it's not your first time, so I appreciate it. And have a good one, bro.
You too.
Nice. Miz, before I pop in, we got a Raiders fan in here asking if the Giants are trading Bradberry to the Raiders. Like I said, it's a rumor. I was very careful with wording it. My thumbnail says rumor, not report, not confirmed, but it's a rumor that he's gonna be traded to the Raiders for a 5th-round pick. Miz, what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, Hub? What's up?
I'm good, man. There's a lot of stuff that happened today.
I know. I thought they might have overspent a little, but I know that they didn't have many choices at the moment. It was dwindling down. I think they wanted Mariota. They probably tried to work it, but it didn't work, so they went with a guy that they have a history with. So, some people are jumping they're jumping overboard. Jones is getting traded because they paid this guy this type of money, but that's not the truth.
He's not getting paid that much. He's getting paid $5.5 million. It's not that much.
And he may not have a second year. It's not guaranteed. It's a 1 year right now, basically, if you want to look at it that way. Am I right?
It's I don't know how the guarantee money is working, but it's basically the base salary is $5.5 a year. Of the entire contract, $8.5 is guaranteed, is fully guaranteed, and there's incentives that can make it go up to from the $11 million total to $17 million. That $6 million is all incentives.
Right. Because some people want to paint the story, which I thought about it for a second, but it's not going to happen. That they're going to go draft Malik and they're going to trade Jones. And Malik
I don't see that happening. It's too late. It's too late to do that. I don't think it makes sense. If anything, I think that this move, signing Tyrod Taylor, kind of ensures that we don't take a quarterback. What I will say, though, is that if you look at the type of QBs they were looking for Mitch, they were looking for Tyrod, a guy that could come in and legitimately push Jones. I think it does say that they're not as confident as they told us they are in him, because they want somebody that could potentially beat him out in camp. That's what it tells me.
Well, listen, Jones is not their guy. They have no ties to him. And pretty much even before today, my thinking was that this is Jones's last season with the Giants. I really feel that way. They're not going to pick up his 5th-year option. That's not happening. And he has to prove himself. Not only have a good season, he doesn't have to have all-world season, but he has to have a good season, and more importantly, he has to play Play
He doesn't have
16, 15
no.
games,
I'll say this, Miz. For him to get an extension with us, he needs to have more than a good season. For him to have an extension with
Well,
us,
what could you
because
what can you expect out of the guy realistically?
I mean, well, if we're talking realistically, I realistically think he's not the quarterback of the future. I think we're gonna replace him in a
Right.
year or two.
Right, I agree with you. I always thought he was going to be the guy, but now I feel like he's not. So,
And also, I want to say, I mean, yeah, I brought this up earlier. People are probably annoyed because I brought it up so many times tonight. But since you were here, I'm gonna repeat it. Remember when the Carpenter, like the actual source of information came out during the season? He was right. He said that Daniel Jones has a neck injury. It's more serious than the Giants are letting on, and they're gonna try to make it seem like he could still start, but he's out for the rest of the season. They did try to make it seem like he could come back up until Jake Fromm started, and that's when everybody knew, oh, he's out for the season. Based off of that, you know what I'm saying? It is a jump, I admit. Fully, I admit right here, Miz, that it is a jump, but it is possible that it still is more serious than they're letting on, and that's another reason why they were looking for somebody that could potentially start. Maybe they're concerned about him, his timeline to come back to start this season.
I mean, Taylor's good. Listen, Taylor's like if Jones starts the season, but he suddenly gets hurt or can't play in week 3 or 4, Taylor's a good enough guy that could still make the season competitive if that's what the team is. We won't know until we're in season. But like I'm saying, like when you had a Glennon and the other guy, the season was over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I'm glad about
like
that.
if
I'm glad that we
Glennon
have
had to come in
somebody.
week 4,
Yeah.
man. How much of a disaster would that season be?
I'm glad that we have somebody that, like, I know that would go in. I'm like, okay, we still have somewhat of a shot. Like when Glennon was in, I'm just like, the game is over. We're not doing anything.
And I gotta say, I'm a guy who always backed up Gettleman. I always thought it wasn't his fault. It was Mara. It was Judge. They weren't allowing him to do his job, which in some cases I still believe is true. But I have to say this, man. Joe Shane and Dabble, if they're together, but I guess right now we have to talk about Joe Shane. He's done more yesterday for that O-line than I've seen Gettleman and whoever do in the
Exactly.
last 4 years, man.
Bro, you were saying it,
telling
and
you.
I agree with you. You were saying it in the comment section of my video. Mark Glowinski is a really, really good guard. He's
No,
he's a
good.
beast, and
I
we
did
got
the
him on a
video right away
like a
on him.
good deal.
I
He's
felt
only
like people didn't know who he
yeah.
was.
He's
People
only
really
making
didn't
$3
know. I
million
did a video
this
right
year.
away on him. If you watch my video, I hit it on every note. The man is a run blocking beast. The man pulls. The man didn't miss a game in 4 of the last 5 years. You can't even ask for more than that right there, especially the Giants, where we can never keep a team healthy. So you're getting durability. You're getting a blue chip, blue collar. He's a
You're
real
getting somebody
beast
that
in the
was
run game.
that was a piece on one of the best lines in the league.
Arguably the last year or two, the best O-line in football.
And you're getting, and then other than Mark, you're also getting, he's not as good as Mark. I think he's around like an average guy, but that's good enough, right? Like an average guard that's about to play center in Jon Feliciano.
Feliciano's good because he could play 3 positions. He also played center, which the Giants, right now, they might be thinking he's our center next year.
No, that's what they said. It's not they're thinking it. They said he's going to play center.
There you go. So he could play guard. He could play center. So you're getting, versatile lineman, a veteran. He's a lot like Nick Gates. He's feisty. He'll punch you in the mouth. He will fight.
I
If
made
you
the
let your
same
quarterback
comparison.
play, he will fight
Yeah,
people.
I made the same comparison. He's literally going to be Nick Gates because Gates was also a guard that moved to center. Are you still there or are you frozen?
You there?
Yeah, I'm there. I think you froze for a while.
Yeah, so I heard your video. It was good stuff. And listen, we got 2 good linemen. We picked up Gano earlier in the week, I believe, or last week. So
That's a really good
guy.
depth piece right there.
Yeah, and I'm still someone who's not giving up on Lemieux and Pert because let them sit as backups and develop. Something they should have been doing from the beginning, and because we were so bad and our plans were so inept, they just rushed these kids in. When we drafted Pert, I remember the day he was drafted, that a lot of these guys on TV, including Carl Banks, was saying that this is the type of kid that won't be ready for like 3 years. The Giants try rushing him in. So once again, get him in, Judge, whatever. They didn't do the right thing. He wasn't ready. I wouldn't be ready to throw him out the door,
Mm-hmm.
You got to sit here with these kids. Pert, Lemieux can be real good pieces down the road. Let them develop. Somebody gets hurt, you plug them in. But you don't give up on them. Oh, I hear people, we'll get rid of him. We'll get rid of him. Relax, man. We just drafted these kids. They are kids.
They're going to have to sit back and develop. And I'll say this. With Pert as a backup, that's a great backup. With Gano as a backup, that's a great backup. Shane Lemieux as a backup, that's a great backup. Like, these guys are going to be great backups. They're not good starters yet, and hopefully we can see them develop. But they're going to be great backups. We're going to have good depth. And then we hope, we all assume that they're going to take a tackle at 5th, so that we'll have a good starting offensive line as well.
Something we haven't had in forever. A good line with quality guys that are backup that can step in if someone twists an ankle or, and I guess it's really hope. But imagine if we could get a Nick Gates back, and it doesn't have to be for week 1. Like if Nick Gates gets back and does his rehab, takes his time, you get a Nick Gates back for like November, December.
If Nick Gates can come back towards the end of the season, like, it depends what we did with the O-line, though, right? Because he would be a plug-and-play guard, but at that point, Jones would have all the chemistry with Feliciano, so you want to keep Feliciano at center, right? So it depends. Who's starting at that left guard position? Is it somebody that you'd want Gates starting over? That's what it's going to depend on.
Well, you let him take his time, and you see where you're at that point. And if the line has really good continuity, then you don't put him in. He could hang out on the bench. He's there. Listen, you're telling him, listen, you take this full season to get back, and we see where you stand in 23. Now, if there's an injury and he gets back and he's ready to go in November, December, then there you go. Listen, it's not a bad. These are good problems. Something we haven't had again in a long time.
Long time.
And I'm still not satisfied, man. At 5, if Iquanu or somehow Neal falls, I know Thibodeau's a beast, but
Thibodeau's not falling. You take the tackle at 5, man. You're taking the tackle at 5.
Right. I believe now with the moves the Jets made, they're lined up to take Thibodeau at 4. I believe that.
I think the Jets. I'm gonna go with what the previous caller said. I think that Thibodeau and Hutchinson are gonna go 1 and 2. I think the Jets are gonna take Kyle Hamilton because they just lost Marcus May. Marcus May just signed with the
But
with the
they
Saints.
just signed a safety today.
The Jets?
Yeah, then the Jets sign.
Who? The Jets didn't sign anybody. They lost their safety. The Jets safety signed with the Saints.
The Jets signed the safety from Tampa today. Was it Whitehead?
Was it Whitehead? Let me see. Jordan Whitehead?
Yes.
Oh, damn. You're right. This changes things. Hold up. This does change. Yeah. But
they could still go Hamilton, but it wouldn't be till 10. And I don't even know if they would. They might
listen,
go,
we'll see. I'll say this, man. No matter what happens, we could get one of the top 3 tackles. That was their best move, the Jets. No matter what happens, we could get one of the top 3 tackles, whether it's Akeem, Neal, or Cross. I feel like we're going to be positioned to get just one of them. And honestly, I'm going to be happy with that. But Miz, let me get your last thought because I'm past the 1.5 hour mark. I got to go now. But let me get your last thought, whether it's on the NFL or the Giants.
Well, about the Giants, I'm real happy with what they're doing. I understand that we were strapped and we really needed a backup quarterback. So I get it. And maybe we get another low-key guy, but I think the rest will be in a draft. And I think besides the tackle, and I would like an edge rusher, but I can totally see the Giants going Sauce at 7, especially if they trade Bradberry in the next few days here. I could see them going Sauce, and none of us would be angry because we got to understand that move. But keep pounding this O-line. I would like an edge rusher if we can get one. But you know what I'm really interested in? Because I'm starting to I already did, but I'm really buying into, I really like Joe Shane, man. He has a plan. He has balls. He's not scared to make moves. You're seeing it. And let's see if we can grab another 1 or 2 picks from trades here for this draft, And we're going to get some comps for next year's draft. Don't forget that with Ingram.
Ingram and
I believe we
Johnson.
lost the defensive tackle,
Mhm.
Austin. So we might get some comp picks right there for next year. So we're lining up a good. The one thing before you hang up here, I was looking into this. The Giants most likely will let Galladay go next year. They will keep him for one more year, and then they're gonna let him go. They're gonna get back $18 million on Galladay next year. The Giants are going to have close to around $140 million because the cap is supposed to go up $30 million next year. Remember that. The Giants are going to be in free agency next year with maybe the most money in the NFL. Just another cherry on top to look ahead to for the fans out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, it is what it is. Good talk to you, Hub. I saw you on. I told you I was going to come on. Everything's good, man. And next stop, I guess, is the draft, right?
Next
Like
stop
you
is
said,
the draft.
well, real quick, what do you think we get for Bradberry? Real quick, what, a 3?
No, I'm actually. I
Four?
think I believe the reports. I believe the reports that are coming out right now. I think it's a 5th.
A 5th.
Yeah.
Wow, that must mean that nobody really was
Because
biting, and they have to give him away.
because here's what you got to consider, right? He only has 1 year left on his deal, and it's $21 million. So if a team was trading a mid-round pick for him, they got to pay for $21 million, and they got to give up a mid-round pick too. And then that's only gonna be for 1 year, right? So, yeah.
And you know what? You get a 5th, which is like free, because what their real goal is to get back that $12.5 million. Am I right?
Who's
they're not
real goal?
trying to pay him. That's what it's about.
Who's they?
The Giants. They're not trying to. The big part of trading him is that they won't have to pay that. They get back $12 million under the cap.
Yeah.
On Bradberry, and that's why they're not getting a high pick for him, right? So you just take the 5th as like an extra cookie. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you. Yeah. Well, Miz, hey,
Yeah,
you guys
and
need to
with that
check out.
$12 million, maybe they go get someone else out here. Maybe
Yeah.
a free agent, there's a tight end out there or something. There's other
Actually,
players out
this
there
is
right now
where
we
I
ain't talking
disagree.
about.
Because if the trade with the Raiders isn't a rumor and it's actually happening, I think that's where we got the money to make these moves. Because we still don't know where this money is coming from. Like, we're gonna find out tomorrow at 4 p.m. how we got that money, right? But Miz, I just want to say thank you for calling in, guys. Check out Miz's channel. It's the same channel name as the name you see on screen right now, TSVI Mizrahi. And thank you so much for calling in, man. Have a good one.
You're good, Hub. You're welcome.
And before I close it out, I just want to give a big shout out to everybody in here that's tuning in. Got 113 viewers right now. We peaked at around 130. I appreciate all of you. Smash that like button before you head out. You know, we got 58 likes. It helps YouTube get it out to everybody else. It helps more people come in and helps the show spread. Mike B says, one thing before I go, we finally got rid of Butterfingers. I'm happy, bro. Trust me, I'm happy. And guys, the show wouldn't be possible without all of you. Big shout out to everybody in chat. You guys are amazing. Tomorrow, I will be live on Kid Blue's channel for the Young Guns. For those of you that don't know, we alternate channels. Last week, it was on mine. This week, it's on his. Next week, it will be on mine again. And every Tuesday, if you're new to this, we do the call-in show where you guys get to come on and share your thoughts. That's it for now, and I'm out.